What is the role of the Scrum Master in release planning and deployment, as well as the interaction between the Scrum Master and DevOps? That's a question from Aduke. Hello, Aduke. Shout out to you. We also have two other questions we're going to address today. And those questions are from Linda. Hi, Linda. Shout out to you. And the second question says, describe a large project you have undertaken in terms of size, time, and budget. And the third question says, how do you ensure deliverables are up to quality standard at the end of a sprint? Hello, welcome to the Scrum chat room where we keep it real with Dr. Francis Imbunya. And if this is your first time here, click the subscribe button. Also, make sure that you like, drop your comment. Let me know that you are actually following and it's benefiting you. If you notice this week, I've done like videos from Monday up to today. There's not been a day that you have not seen a new video. It's because you actually are encouraging me to come up and look at what are some of the things that can help you accomplish your role as a Scrum Master. And if you want to go beyond these videos and you need my help, please feel free to reach out. I have a well-structured program that can help you get that personal mentorship that is going to help you move ahead with your role as a Scrum Master. And then if you also maybe not yet certified and you want to learn what it takes to get certified, I have a team of experts that can help you to be able to do that. But what we're going to do today is let's dive straight into our question. We're not beating around. We're heading straight to the response. Now, let's start with the first question. What is the role of a Scrum Master in release planning and deployment? I'm going to answer that first part first. And now, for you to understand the role of Scrum Master in release planning and deployment, what you need to understand is what is release planning and deployment. Now, I want to use a simple example. If I'm building a computer, let me say for James, now the release planning and deployment is simply means that when will I be able to deliver the product? When will I be able to deliver the product and how will I deliver the product? Now, if I bring it to the software environment, now release planning is going to be, if I'm building an app, let's say for Walmart, on how their clients could be able to shop from home, shop online, pick up maybe all their groceries and other stuff, pay online and only go pick up. Now, if I'm building that app, my release planning is going to be, when is the date I'm going to actually tell Walmart I'm finished and your client can start using it and we can open the portals and other stuff. Now, if you look at release planning then, especially within the software environment, you realize that it goes beyond just saying, hey, I'm done. Why? Because when you're done, the scene needs support to be able to build, to support the client, to be able to fix some bugs and other stuff. Now, what's the role of a Scrum Master? Which is the question. Now, the role of a Scrum Master, if I were asked that question in an interview, the role of a Scrum Master in release planning, is going to focus on helping the Agile team or helping the Scrum team in general to effectively implement the Scrum value so that they can keep the process transparent. They can be able to help the stakeholders understand exactly when it will be delivered by constantly inviting them to review meetings and giving them updates on what is going on. And then when I say by constantly inviting them in review meeting and giving them update, remember the role of a Scrum Master is not to give stakeholder update. The role of a Scrum Master is to facilitate the Scrum team who actually gives direct update to the stakeholders in terms of the status of what they're building. Now, this happened in the review, in the sprint review or in the iteration review. But also, the product owner keep a constant communication between the team and the stakeholders, right? So the role of a Scrum Master is just going to be facilitating to make sure that all the processes are in place and they're ready, and coaching the Agile team on how to release that. Now, the people that are 100%, not 100%, that are going to play the majority of the part in deployment are going to be the developer, because they're the one doing the work. They know exactly what is there. They know exactly what to troubleshoot. But they cannot really release it out because operation is also involved. So this is where we also bring in the management in the phase of deployment. So release planning is beyond just the Scrum team. it goes into looking at also management. What is the role of management? Because management need to handle the financial part and all the terms and regulation and all the policy and other stuff. And one important thing you need to note as a Scrum Master is that a Scrum Master doesn't have management power. So a Scrum Master cannot maybe hire a developer, kick out a developer, or sanction anybody. No, a Scrum Master is a facilitator. So when you understand the role of a Scrum Master in a very simple way will be to facilitate the processes. What are the processes? The daily stand up and the planning and the sprint review and the retro, keeping an environment that is healthy and helping the Scrum team to effectively build a work moving towards release planning. All right, so that's the role. Now, when it comes to the second part of the question, say as well as interacting between Scrum Master and DevOps. Now, DevOps is the relationship between developer and the operation. As a Scrum Master, you work with a team of developer, but then the people that kind of enforce the use of the application or the marketing of the application that is being built by the team of developer is done by operation. So if you work with a Scrum environment, there is a continuous delivery pipeline that now build a system that doesn't introduce a breakage between developers and the operation. So the Scrum Master only had to facilitate to make sure that Agile principles or Scrum values are in place and the product is delivered as it is specified or required by Scrum. All right. I hope that is clear enough. Now, the second question says that describe a large project you have undertaken in terms of price, time, and budget. All right. The first thing is that when you receive some certain question, you need to kind of use your common sense first to be able to look at how you can be able to decode those questions. The first thing you will notice is that this is not a Scrum Master question. Scrum Master don't manage project. So remember, I just gave you an example of a product. You facilitate. The person who is responsible for managing the budget and what goes in and out is at the level of product management, right? Now, you as a Scrum Master, you facilitate the delivery of the product, which means that you have nothing to do with the budget, you have nothing to do with the size, you have nothing to do with the time. You only facilitate. And when you're facilitating, you will agree with me that if you read your Scrum guide and the way to implement, to facilitate product delivery, you're not going to see anywhere where you're responsible in managing budget, you're responsible in the managing the size of the project, or you're keeping time box. Keeping the time box for every meeting in the sprint cycle doesn't mean that you're responsible in managing the time of the project. It's a whole team work. But then this question is a typical project management question. So you typically have this question when the role is project management like Scrum Master. So when you're also applying for Scrum Master job, pay attention. There's sometimes they use project manager / Scrum Master. So which means that apart from helping facilitate the team, you will be engaged in some of the management issue, which means maybe managing the size of the project and managing the budget and managing the delivery time. Those are like two different roles. So we need to be clear on that. Now, if I'm answering this question, I'm going to answer this question based from the project management perspective. And in the Scrum environment, the Scrum Master doesn't manage the size, the time, and the budget of any project. The Scrum Master facilitates a team implementing the work. So the budget and the size is not really your concern. Now, if I take this question now and bring it in the project management environment, the appropriate response is going to be, if I work as a project manager before, taking one of my previous roles, I was facilitating a project implemented by the UN on sustainable livelihood. That was a project for more than 500. Okay, I'm trying to put it in terms of dollars. By then, I was managing in Cameroon. In terms of dollars, it was about $1 million project, and that project was to coordinate on how we can be able to build practices that can enforce sustainable consumption. That project was a large project that came across about 6 different countries running the project at the same time. And the timeline of the project was 18 months. So the timeline was 18 months. The budget was close to $1 million. And the size of the project simply just like, okay, what was the scope? That's exactly what it means. Now, that is a project environment. Now, if you put in your resume that you work as a project manager before, and maybe you did not prepare for this question and it comes in an interview, the easiest way for you to do is just imagine you put as a project manager to supervise a building, maybe to build 5 houses. How much budget is that going to be? If you're building 5 houses in the US, we're talking about millions of dollars, right? Then you can easily say, you can easily give an example on that. I'm not going to go into details in that. Now, the last question for today says that how do you ensure deliverables are up to quality and standard at the end of the sprint? How do you ensure that? First thing where you ensure how the deliverables here are going to be the stories. How do you make sure that it meets the definition of done? The first thing you do is to be able to make sure that your sprint planning are effective. Your team is taking time to size down the story and to be able to make sure that everything is clear. They commit to the right, they don't overcommit, and then the description, the acceptance criteria are well described, because now the quality of the output is going to be based on the acceptance criteria. If the acceptance criteria is not clear, the stories are not well defined and well sized down and really get more clarity, then it's going to be difficult for you to build in quality at the end of the sprint. All right. So I hope I did answer all the questions, and thank you very much for asking this question once more. And remember to subscribe if you're new to this channel. If this actually benefited you, go ahead and share. Someone else might need this information. And in the subsequent week, what I'm going to do next week, probably I'm going to focus more on teaching some basic concept principle, which a lot of people are missing. In terms of, I'll focus a lot next week on your resume. I've had so many questions, like many people that have reached out to me for help and they send me their resume. I've been able to see a very big gap in there. And now, just like a heads up to that teaching, which I'll be taking up throughout the whole next week, one of the points you really need to pay attention to is the fact that your resume does not really need to be cumbersome and include a lot of points and look like you're the best expert somewhere in the world for you to be hired. Remember, one of the rationale of the Agile or the Scrum framework is to be able to make things simple. So if you're writing a resume and I need maybe to go back to school to study another degree to be able to review your resume and understand what you're saying, you're making a very big mistake. Your resume needs to be very simple, straight to the point. Also, many people are mixing the responsibility of project manager and the responsibility of product owner into the responsibility of Scrum Master. These are separate rules, and you need to make sure that your resume is up to date. So I'll be handling most of those technicality subsequently next week. All right, until then, don't forget to subscribe. And if you need help, reach out to me. I'm going to put my number, my email on this under this email, and you can be able to reach out to me. Thank you.